Rachel Reeves had always believed in justice until she uncovered a shadowy network so vast and dangerous, it threatened to consume her city from the inside out. What she found would change everything and force her to fight for the funding needed to take down an unstoppable force of organized crime. In the heart of a bustling city where dreams and danger intertwined, Rachel Reeves sat at her desk staring at the mounting reports of organized crime. She was a rising politician known for her determination and grit. But even she hadn't fully grasped the depth of the problem until that fateful night. For years, the authorities seemed to chase small-time criminals while the larger networks operated with near impunity. But then, a series of seemingly unrelated events began to emerge, events that told a story far darker and more complex. Shadow provided shocking evidence, detailed transaction records, names of key players, and proof of bribery. Yet, she faced fierce resistance. Many politicians dismissed her claims as exaggerated or politically motivated. Together they launched an undercover operation targeting the financial lifelines of the crime syndicate. What they uncovered was astounding: an intricate system of shell companies, offshore accounts, and encrypted communications that allowed the criminals to operate internationally with ease. The criminal network's influence ran deep, and some feared exposing the truth would bring chaos. The operation was a gamble, with lives hanging in the balance. But what they found inside was beyond their worst fears. But Shadow's testimony came with a chilling warning. Those behind this network would stop at nothing to silence anyone threatening their empire. Rachel's call for increased funding was no longer seen as a political plea, but a necessity. Her courage to speak out against powerful interests and demand action sparked a movement for change. Community trust in law enforcement began to rebuild, and the newly funded units made significant arrests. Rachel's fight had sparked hope where there was once despair. The city council approved the largest budget increase in decades to fund specialized task forces, advanced technology, and community outreach programs designed to dismantle organized crime networks. Rachel knows that vigilance must continue and the fight against organized crime is ongoing. But her story remains a powerful reminder that courage, truth, and determination can shine light into the darkest corners. What she uncovered would shake the city to its core and force her to fight for more funding to combat a menace far greater than anyone had imagined. Because sometimes the greatest battles are fought not with guns or fists, but with willpower, integrity, and the unshakable belief that justice will prevail. Her trusted aide, someone she had known for years, was leaking information to the criminals. Among the seized evidence were files revealing plans to expand their reach into neighboring cities and even overseas markets. The scale of the criminal enterprise was staggering, proving that without significant resources and coordination, stopping them would be impossible. The betrayal cut deep, forcing Rachel to question whom she could trust. She had to navigate a maze of false leads and hidden agendas, knowing that a single misstep could cost lives. Organized crime had always been a shadow lurking in the background, whispered about in police stations and newsrooms, but rarely confronted head-on. It became clear that criminals were sending a message, retaliating against those who dared to challenge them. Public fear escalated, and calls for action grew louder. The urgency Rachel felt turned into a desperate race against time. It started with the sudden disappearance of a respected community leader, Marcus Allen, who was known for speaking out against gang violence. At first, the police dismissed it as a typical missing person case. But Rachel, driven by a gut feeling, pushed for a deeper investigation. There were whispers of compromised officers, money laundering through seemingly legitimate businesses, and a web of criminals connected to powerful figures in high places. The usual law enforcement efforts were no match for these sophisticated operations. She soon discovered Marcus had been investigating a network of criminals trafficking illicit goods across city borders: drugs, weapons, and even human lives. As Rachel delved deeper, she found layers of deception and corruption that had infiltrated not just the streets, but institutions meant to protect the citizens. A breakthrough came when a low-level informant from within the criminal network, known only as Shadow, reached out secretly to Rachel's office. Rachel knew she had to act fast. She compiled the evidence and presented it to the city council, urging for a dramatic increase in funding for specialized anti-organized crime units. Undeterred, Rachel sought help from a seasoned detective, Claire Dawson, who had a reputation for unraveling complex cases. Now, the suspense escalated when Rachel received an anonymous tip that someone close to her was compromised. As the investigation tightened, the city was rocked by a sudden surge in violent crimes: arson, kidnappings, and brazen armed robberies. In a daring final move, Rachel and Detective Dawson coordinated a massive raid targeting the network's headquarters, a seemingly ordinary warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The warehouse concealed a high-tech command center where the syndicate coordinated global operations. The raid exposed several corrupt officials, leading to arrests that rocked the city's political landscape. Rachel's relentless pursuit had uncovered a hidden war being waged in the city. Shadows of war most were unaware of, but that impacted every citizen's safety and future. In the aftermath, the city saw a gradual decline in violent crimes linked to organized syndicates. Yet, the story doesn't end there. The criminal world is always adapting, shifting in response to pressure. This is why Rachel Reeves called for more funding, to give her city a fighting chance against a threat that once seemed unstoppable.